Okay, with a special request, I'm going to make a video on requesting an installment agreement. Many people over the years have asked, can you do an installment agreement request? And it is unfortunately without power of attorney. This is something the individual person has to do for themselves. And notice I said individual. Installment agreements are done at that level. And we're going to walk through kind of the different ways to do it, i.e., the slow way versus the fast way. When we do those things, uh, just so for your understanding, what we're talking about here is Form 9465, right? So Form 9465 is our installment agreement request, and this is to do payment plans. I'm also going to show you how to do it online. I think that's a lot better, right? I've got some other links here, as well as I'm logged in to do it. You do kind of have to have a letter in front of you from the IRS saying, here's what I owe, here's what I owe for, right? And then from there, you can establish it and set it up. But here's the 9465. Right. This is the installment agreement. You put your personal information on it, telephone number, that kind of stuff. Enter the total amount shown on your tax return or your notice, right? So sometimes under these notices, they will accumulate the years, right? Like if I owe for 3 years, they're going to give you one number. And of course, it's a FIFO method, meaning they always take your dollars and position them against the oldest money first. This is bad, folks, right? Because if I've got like failure to pay money, and failure to file money, that penalty only runs for a certain period of time. So those newer tax dollars have not been penalized yet. So while they will always push you towards the older money first, you do want to try to pay off the current money as fast as you can so that stuff doesn't get penalized, because you feel like you can never dig out of this hole by putting yourself on consistent installment agreements. So again, try to take care of current years. If you have this habitual problem, you got to change your W-4s at your job. You got to do quarterly estimates if you're self-employed. You got to get ahead of this, or you never dig out, and the penalties and interest, which are not tax deductible, by the way, are just going to eat you alive. So, but here we go. Right. Basically on this form, by the way, is only if you owe 50,000 or less. If you owe more than 50,000 or less at the making of this video, it used to be a smaller amount, by the way, but currently under the law here, it's January of 25 when I'm making this video. It is 50,000 or less. Then you can do the installment agreement request. If it's over 50, you got to work through their collection department. They're going to ask you all sorts of personal financial questions because they want to see what you can afford to pay them to try to dig out of this hole. If you do an installment agreement, by the way, and your next year you owe and you cannot pay off the following year, you have to redo the installment agreement request every single year that you have not paid off all your taxes. So there's your motivation. Get clean in the current, do this on the old, and never redo this again. That is the idea when we're looking at this form. Again, paper form, we just basically fill it out, right? You can do up to 72 months. That is the longest amount that you can spread out a balance due. And so it's pretty darn good, for a length of time to be able to do it. And you can kind of if you want to get it done in 36 months, you can kind of do the math to do it, right? They're saying, hey, divide the amount on line 9 by 72, enter the result. You can do more, by the way, right? Again, you can do more. I would set it up to be automatically done. This is wise. You don't have to write checks. Put in your banking information. It makes it easier. You will sign it. You will date it, right? And this is additional information. If you owe more than 25, but not more than 50, right? They're going to want to know a little bit of information about you because they want to try to prevent this from continuing to happen again, right? And so that is the concept of the installment agreement. This is a little bit of a Q&A at the IRS.gov, payment plan installment agreements. This is like, do I have to pay a setup fee? Do I still owe penalties and interest? And the answer is, yeah. Yeah, you do. The penalties and the interest continue to accrue. At the time of this video, it's about a 13 to 14% APR with the penalty and interest. So while it's not credit cards up at 20% or above at the time of this video, but it's still not the cheapest money. So if I've got a HELOC at 8%, on my home, I'm probably going to use my HELOC to do it. Now that interest on the HELOC, because people are like, well, that'll make it tax deductible. No, it isn't, right? Remember, interest has to be used to buy, build, or improve your home, even though it's attached to your house. That doesn't determine whether it's tax deductible. When you're using money to buy vacations from HELOCs or paying off your IRS taxes, that's not going to make that tax deductible. But here's all sorts of information on this, right? That kind of deal. And then also, right, you will end up mailing this to the service center, right? Kansas City, Missouri, or Ogden, Utah, where you file your taxes. So wherever you're filing your taxes is where you want to do it and where you want to mail it to. But if you don't know, right, there's you can look at the instructions. It'll tell you, oh, you live in Minnesota, you're going to send it here, right? That kind of deal. But that is, again, this is the slow way. Paper processing is the slow. You can do your installment agreement utilizing the online payment agreement. This is great. So here we go, online payment agreement. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to simply Google it, right? Like, okay, I don't know where to go. I don't know how to log in. So I'm going to go IRS online payment agreement. Now, there could be some sharks here that are Google searching, but you'll notice when you see this, irs.gov, you're going to be okay here. Online payment agreement. Well, I've clicked on this. It's purple, right? When we come in here, service outage, right? This is for the e-filing area. But when we come on down here, we're going to apply or revise as an individual. If you have a tax professional that has a POA, then power of attorneys can actually do this, right? But typically you're going to pay for that if you're going to do a POA. But when you come in here as an individual, what's going to happen is I'm already logged in, but I'm going to go ahead and log out here so you can see what this looks like when I come into this system. So what ends up happening is I'm going to go back in time. I'm going to hit this as an individual, and it's going to come in with this sign in or create an account. You have to have an irs.gov account. In today's world, there is no reason why you shouldn't. You can see what you owe. You can see letters that might not get to you. You can see tax return details, right? You can see so much, and there's just no downside to having it. It takes time to jump through the hoops to get it in there. You got to have your tax returns handy. They're going to verify information because this is a very sensitive site. But I'm going to go ahead and sign in this video. I'm going to do it for myself, right? I'm going to use my email. I'm going to use my password. I'm not going to do the remember me, right? I'm not into that. It's going to send me a lovely text, two-factor authentication. So I'm going to get my text in the door here, and bang, here it comes. I'm going to type my number in and for my two-factor, and then I'm getting in, right? And so once I get into this, now you can't really do a lot in here, but this is the actual online payment agreement form. This is a lot easier, but what's kind of nice is they tell us, hey, if you want to go short term on this, which is awesome, you're just getting some extra time. There's no user fees, and they're going to charge less penalties and interest. Now the rate is still the same, right? Like they go low interest penalties, high interest penalties. That's just because of the length of time that you're doing. Like the monthly, they're going to let you do up to that 72 months, similar to what we saw over here. This is just the online version of doing this. So when you get your letter, you go, bang, enter the current balance. Now it says current tax year. Put in the amount based upon the letter you have, because again, the IRS will accumulate this kind of deal, right? So then typically what you'll do is you'll go, okay, I have 25,000. Okay, not 250, no decimal points. IRS doesn't work in cents. And you'll notice, right, the short-term plan, they'll tell you the Q&A is long-term plan. They do a $69 fee just to set up the payment plan because they know they're going to have to probably send mail and all that kind of jazz that costs them money. But we're going to go ahead and hit this button here, right? And now look at this. Okay, I can put in my payment amount. They let me do it because I owe under a certain amount. So they're going to let me do it for the amount that I put into that. I put in 25,000. So they're going to kind of go, well, how much do you want to do? They have a little estimator here to help kind of figure out how much you can do. I can pick the payment date that it's due. It's pretty sweet. I might as well do the direct debit. This is sweet, right? Let's use our banking information to just do it so I don't get a bill and have to write a check. Who does that these days? Let's just do ACH right out of our bank account, right? They're going to reduce the fee when we do it, by the way, right? And I believe in the law. Don't quote me on this, but I think that they give you a reduced interest rate when you pick this option because they just know collections are easier. They're going to make it easier on you. So let's do this, folks. Let's make it easy. I'm just going to say, for this purpose, $1,000 a month. There's so much that comes out on the first, so let's just do the third, and let's continue it up. Bang. Let's put our information in, our routing, confirm it, our account number, and then I'm going to just sign off. I'm going to put my social, right? I'm not obviously going to do it because I don't have any balance due, but you can see it's going to verify, it's going to confirm. Bang. It's that easy. This literally you could do a payment plan in under 10 minutes. It will take you an hour to get that IRS online account through the ID.me because you got to do a little bit of biometrics on it. They might have removed the biometric requirement because they're supposed to, but maybe not yet. But basically, yeah, you'd put this in, you'd hit continue, you'd confirm it up, and then literally you're done. The key is that you're in your account. I get to skip all of that fun stuff of having to fill out a lot of this and waiting, right? Because if I mail this, good Lord, paperwork at the IRS right now is like over 6 weeks to get anything looked at. And if it's something strange, they might not look at it for a long time. But again, super easy to do, not hard, right? This was an 11-minute and change video on doing these things. I'm going to go ahead and log out at this point, right? I'm not going to do this. But again, super easy, not hard to do a payment plan. And there you go. So you no longer have to ask somebody to do this for you. Let's teach some people how to fish. All right, folks, have a wonderful day.